to be an absolute banger of a game to end the regular season. I'm really excited to see it get underway.
All right, let's see which map we're going to be playing on. The lobby looks to be ready, so we're going to toss it in ASAP. Nice. There it is, Homeless removing Consulate. Clubhouse will be our decider for this. Making sense. I mean, you're taking two teams that are fairly competent to a map that requires a lot of competency and teamwork and quite a bit of timing, I gotta say. Clubhouse is definitely one of these meta consolidating maps.
Big thing for me is that the only time I've seen MnM play it was the 7-0 against Bekind. How much of their strategies they really had to show when they started to realize they had such momentum against Bekind on their first Playday, I don't know. So for Azarko, I'm a little bit concerned. They're going into the playoffs. Why go to a map that, quite frankly, you haven't showed before? Are you going to go all out? Or are you just going to completely just throw all the strats out the door? Don't present them. Don't give a VOD to them and just play however you would in a ranked game, for example. But do your best to put those scores on the board. We'll see. Yeah, I would be surprised if they show all their strats today. And if they do, I don't think it's a wise decision.
All right. Des, you still believe MnM will take it today?
Yeah, given most of their roster is ex-members of Crazy. Crazy were one of the teams that were regarded as one of the strategical masters when it came around to European Siege. I think this is a really good map for them. Against Homeless, I don't know what to expect, but I'm confident MnM all the same.
All right, let's toss it over to our casters then. Jess, Des, our final desk for the regular season. And the final matchup that we have scheduled for the day is Geo and Dev that'll guide us through it. So please, go ahead, my friends.
Thank you so much, Milos. Dev, it's been a journey here this season in EU Challenger League, but as Des put it there, this one should be a banger of a game.
Very much so. Both of these teams we will be seeing in the playoffs, so this is not the end of the road for them. They are confirmed, but seeding is everything. With how strong teams are coming into these playoffs and the fact that they are single elimination best of 3 matches, everything matters. Seeding is super important.
Indeed. So as we enter into Clubhouse, which is just so astutely put, hasn't been visited by Homeless so far in Challenger League. Are they going to give too much away? What are we going to see from them? Well, that remains to be seen. But MnM starting things off in the ban phase, and that's going to be a Monty straight off the board.
Pretty typical for MnM on Clubhouse, what they banned against Bekind in the first Playday of Challenge League, and also what they banned against Na'Vi, and 2 other UKIN teams during the UKIN. So that's a good start for them. Now, I will say for Homeless, despite them hiding Clubhouse thus far in the Challenge League, it's not really because they've been banning it. They only banned it once out of the 4 matches thus far. Or 5 if you include this one. And they did play it a couple times in the Polish Masters, so there is some kind of information there for MnM to go off and some kind of, I guess, strategy out there. Some VODs are Homeless. But yeah, it may well be this is a map we end up seeing from either of these teams come the playoffs on the Monday.
Am I going to be added... Wait, what? All right,
Wait.
No, I just got in my own head about something then. Am I going to be added to the list? And that's finally rounded out with Kaid. It's because I missed the Maverick. And I was like, hold on a sec, I missed one here. I was looking down at the notes I was making.
Yeah, well, Wamai is Homeless's most banned defender, so makes sense from my perspective. Funny they left the Thatcher and got rid of the Maverick, but I guess that's just their preference on Clubhouse. Often across most maps, their most banned operator is Thatcher, but particularly on Clubhouse, the 2 out of the 3 Polish Masters games that I've looked at, they banned out the Maverick and the Wamai. So I think if I'm MnM and I've done my research against Homeless on the Polish Masters, this should be the ban phase expected coming into it. I can't say so much, though, on the reverse, because MnM haven't banned this Kaid before on Clubhouse. In fact, we haven't seen any bans from everything I looked in Challenger League and the UKIN. I didn't stretch so far back as Challenger League Season 11 for this data, but that was quite a long time ago, back in May, so I feel like it's almost not relevant. Overall, MnM coming out with their defense on the first half, and they're the ones who are going to have to show us what they've got with the lack of a Wamai, the lack of that Kaid. I think it should be pretty comfortable, really. I think mostly this is comfort bans from MnM. I don't really know why the Kaid ban was there since Thatcher's in. It's not quite as prevalent. I guess you can try to Kaid trick, but nonetheless, it's not going to be the case here. For the most part, this looks to be either a full anchor setup from MnM or maybe a loose roam. They're not doing like a full commit reinforcements upstairs kind of roam. No castle, no mute, no mozzie. Well, they do have mute, but I mean, he's mostly on site. Oh, no, there actually are a couple jammers, and I am wrong. They reinforced the kennels wall. I think it's going to be a semi-loose roam from MnM. Maybe just users, maybe Fonkers lurking around, and they're probably going to rotate back to site. The fact that they reinforce that hatch in bar means that even if, let's say, these roamers die, which they're not just yet because Dats has gone for an aggressive run out, then Homeless will still have to hard breach all of those hatches.
Well, at least they still have the hard breaches on the board, as they lost one of their key soft breaches in the form of the sledge, and often when attacking onto this site, he's used a lot to open up the kitchen floor, open up the floor, basically here exactly where Fonkers is, just above the bottom of the main stairs. That's going to be a lot harder. You could, of course, go for the... I mean, I guess you could use the lifeline. Sophia sometimes brings breaching charges, but instead they brought a Claymore this time. Point is, it'll be harder to pressure those down in the kitchen if they decide to go for the kitchen hatch.
Yeah, so I think I was right. It's just kind of a bait roam from MnM. They're putting a little bit of utility off-site, but for the most part, they're just anchoring. I believe there is one roamer over on cash side. It's probably Yuzu's. He was one earlier in the prep phase we saw setting up over there. Buppity boo, indeed, he's in CCTV. The mute jammers will make it a bit harder for Homeless to clear him. And here, as you mentioned, the kitchen hatch is the first point of contention. Are those shots through the floor successful? No, ours doesn't. But he might have scared off that player long enough for that hatch to detonate. That said, Users is doing some work off-site and found one kill on the road.
Yeah, that was nice and clean, it felt like there. And you can tell the Nexus has come up to try and deal with the mute who still remains upstairs. Users gets stunned out on the lifeline, and Royal also on the other side. So they want to try and come in and pinch and get rid of him, but it's a lot of attention and time. It does pay off for Homeless. They're into the last minute of the round.
Yeah, I don't know if it does pay off for Homeless at the end of that. 4v3 for the defenders. All hatches were reared, so that means utility's got to be expended for those, and didn't manage to catch how many okay, 0 X-Kairos left, and only one of the thermite charge that's going to go down on the bar hatch, waste more time, and the impact check was actually successful. Look at that, medics, as Josh shown us, there was only one hatch breached, every single bit of hard breach utilized, 30 seconds left, 3v4, only one hatch, and no breach on the church wall. This is dire.
You've got to attempt for some kind of brute force at this point, but it's going to be Fonkers getting the next kill. Mexis knows where his ideal prey would be. He couldn't secure it, as could neither of any of his teammates, and MnM take what looked like a pretty comfortable round.
Very much. I really like the strategy there, and I think MnM played into it really well. I don't quite know why there was actually some pre-opened holes on the church wall. That's not something I see very often, but maybe later on when MnM reattempts that bomb site, we'll get to see that, and maybe it'll be more relevant, because honestly, the bomb site setup wasn't super relevant for MnM, because Homeless didn't catch the point of attacking it successfully. MnM well and truly won that roam game. It was just beautiful to watch. Not only was there that spawn peek from Dats onto Reba, but following that, the roam that we saw from users up in Cash and CCTV was just really difficult for Homeless to deal with. What we commonly see on Clubhouse is at teams at this level, it's not an order, a rigid order of, okay, step one, roam clear. Once we finish the roam clear, then we start to breach the hatches. No, teams try to do lots of things at the same time. It's kind of like juggling lots of different balls. But the problem is, when you're just like, okay, let's have 1 or 2 people try and clear the roamers upstairs, but suddenly there's mute jams. And while we're doing that, we've got 1 or 2 people trying to breach the hatches, but there's impact checks. Things get way more complicated, the comms get hectic, and all the while Homeless is doing that with 1 man down, and that was such a difficult position to fight from. Users finding 1 kill and wasting enough time. Even though he was traded, he was worth his weight in gold.
Well, if they can recreate that round over and over, then this could be a clean victory for MnM Gaming, which isn't what Homeless won. They mentioned it before, both of these teams have secured their spot in the playoffs. This is purely for seeding. Homeless are currently on 9 points, second in the group, while MnM are on 8 points. So if they draw, then they'll be on the same number of points, and MnM have the round differential. And obviously if MnM win, then they will take the top spot of those two. If Homeless win, they will maintain that top spot.
Yeah, TLDR, whoever wins this game gets second seed in Group B, And that means that they will be playing against Heretics instead of if they get seed. If they get seed 3, they'll play against Gamma. And I mean, if I get to choose between playing against Gamma or Heretics, like, yes, Heretics has seen some good stuff, but no, I totally would rather play them than Gamma. I think Gamma is definitely a team to be feared. You definitely don't want to drop down into 4th place, which would see you facing against Windstrike, probably the strongest team in my eyes from Group A, but I don't think that's on the cards for either of these teams.
No. That'll be Kovana Gaming who'll have to deal with that. But either way...
Good luck, have fun.
Yeah, but, you know... They fought hard to get here as well. They came in through qualifiers, so... But neither of these two teams did. They made their way in, and Dats looks like he's getting ready for another run out. We saw this happen last time. He's just checking for claymores, I believe. But Mexis knew what was coming, and he ensures that he gets shut down pretty easily.
Yeah, look at that. The fact that he was playing so far back on kennels just tells you that, well, Homeless had definitely read into that aggression. Not only that Claymore was there, but the player watching from on high, no way Dats is going to check for that. They're well played. Not a super early pick, I'll give you that. MnM, though, they can fight from behind here. I have faith in them. Here's the construction take shaping up. 1 on the clock, because Funk has got impacts. Indeed, he does, and he's preparing for the impact trick right now. And I think that if MnM can deny these thermite charges, which they could well do, they've got 2 impacts and only 2 thermite charges, and it'll be really difficult for Homeless to execute their pre-planned strategy.
Yeah, in go the stuns. I'm still waiting to see if this is going to work out. They basically just want to ensure that they have as good a chance as possible. Well, there's the nade, and it does deal a decent amount of damage into Funkers, but the impact trick still works. As more of Homeless gather here in construction, knowing they have only one more attempt really at doing this. Ooh. There's a C4 from Usus, but it doesn't catch anybody out.
That must have got shot. Yeah, really good reactions there from Homeless. Is that breach on successful? Indeed it is, but Foster has furthered this man advantage now for Homeless. Add to the fact that there's that breach, everything's looking up for them, but only 10 seconds left on the clock. This may well be desperate, and the Kennels player has been taken down. That's Josephia, he could self-res. Where is the plant coming down, though? Is there info from below? He does deny it! That is everything that MnM needed! What a close to that round. Time elapses, and Homeless fall to the wayside.
I was wondering if, you know, users playing down on the Malusi was going to be played for denial. He obviously tried to use the C4 earlier on in the round, and as we noted, it got shot. So once that was gone, and you had the Valkyrie at the end as well, you only had that option of the denial with the shotgun. Luckily, he got the right place. I say luckily as if there was no information or skill involved, and it was all down to luck. But that was a nice round finished out there by MnM.
Yeah, love to see it. I would have to rewind to know for sure, but I'm pretty sure there was an evil eye from the Maestro still on site, and that was what was pinging. So as you said, it wasn't luck that the mute, I think it was the mute, knew where to shoot at the end there. So yeah, well played from MnM. And consider this, that Homeless had that man advantage, 5v3. They had that construction breach onto cache open. Everything was looking their way except for that timer, which ended up losing them the round. They ended up with more players alive at the end of that round than MnM, but all MnM needs to do is wait out the timer, and if they can deny the plants on the 0-0 mark, that's exactly what you need. So credit to MnM from fighting from that position. I will say, very, very, very close. And I think that maybe if that Valkyrie hadn't found the kill, or the injury, I guess I could say, onto the Zafia, then maybe it would have been a bit easier for Homeless to find a spot to plant. Maybe they could have planted on top of one of the desks instead, which would have been safer. Who knows? A lot of what ifs here, but what I do take away from that round is Homeless are getting very, very close. With the potential we've seen from them all season, you know, they took a win over Kovana. I definitely think that we're going to see this be a serious match between these two teams.
Yeah, I mean, I remember back, we casted them on the first Playday, I think, if I remember correctly, and they looked like they had a lot of holes in the way that they were playing, and over the course of the last few weeks, they've definitely improved upon a lot of that. One of the things that we have mentioned in the past is they've been a lot more disciplined with the way that they exhibit their aggression, which previously, all the way back at the beginning of the season, was rather uncontrolled and needed some reining in, and they managed to get that sorted out. I mean, one of the things that, you know, I think that Homeless looked pretty decent in that round. I agree. But one of the questions that I have is that if they do go back to that site at some point, they have to attack onto it once again. Would you still expect them or recommend to them to have that same kind of strategy where they all come in from construction? You've got a lot of the team in one place rather than trying to take the garage control at the same time from the other side.
It's a tough call. There's two kind of popular pushes onto that cache bomb site. Either A, as you said, you execute through construction. Typically, you'll have one player out on kennels, which is exactly what Homeless did. I would call that a construction take, execute into cache. That's where you get the plant down. Or B, you go for an execute onto the CCTV bomb site, where you take garage control, you breach kennel. These days, the construction push has actually become more popular and been more popularized by a lot of teams. Garage control can be really hard, especially with Wamai in. Wamai has been banned, however, and it was actually Homeless who banned it. So in some ways, that would indicate that they're more interested in going for a garage take, which is obviously contrary to what we just saw. So yeah, I hope that we do see a bit of depth in the strat book from Homeless. They could even bring a Capital, which is slipped through the ban phase. With Wamai ban, there's nothing to prevent those firebolts from pinching any players on rafters, and yeah, that could definitely lead to some strong garage control. I even think like a buck underneath in stock could have really helped clear out cache a lot more effectively. That impact trigger was allowed to survive for a really long time. So there's definitely a lot of things that Homeless could be doing. Keep in mind that yes, while they would like to win this game to get the seeding to play against, let me double check, Heretics rather than Gamma. Yes, that's important, but also you don't necessarily want to reveal your entire strat book, as Jess was alluding to, during this game, because you're playing single elimination playoffs, and you cannot make any mistakes in single elimination playoffs.
That's very true. Part of me was wondering if, you know, especially as MnM twice in a row now have particularly gone for runouts, having control over Garage maybe could have prevented the death onto the player who was on the server wall especially, and maybe give you some more control. But it's one of those things, it happened, it went the way that it did, and now they have another chance to try and take a round off of MnM by attacking here onto Jim and Master.
That's it. When you win 2 defenses in a row, you get that forcibly rotation. I don't know. That's just sounds like nonsense. You got to move your tertiary bomb site. Pretty standard here. Clubhouse is one of those maps where you could feasibly win every single bomb site. And, you know, we've had periods in time where this gym bedroom defense was actually one of the most powerful, and in funnily enough, have had a better win ratio than some of the other bomb sites. Not so much the case these days, but who knows? We do have teams that particularly favor some bomb sites over the others. Especially, it does come into as well how good the attacking team is on each bomb site. Some teams just have cash attacks down pat. And it is beautiful to witness, and maybe a defense would prefer gym bedroom. But nonetheless, I digress. We dig into this round, and we've seen an operator change here on the Homeless side. It is Foster 6ing onto that IQ instead of that Thatcher that we've seen before, that notorious Thatcher who's so frequently banned. But I think this IQ is the right pick. As you can see, there's actually no wall denial from MnM, and there hasn't been the previous round as well. And the Mutant round one was really for drone denial more so than wall denial. But this Valkyrie is definitely present, and I think the IQ is a good pick to try and counter that and suppress that aggression that MnM have definitely wanting to exhibit.
You can definitely tell that Homeless have it on their minds. I mean, even Royal checking the angle down towards storage just before he moved along, because he knew that there was a risk that someone could end up jumping out. And Jonka, just at the top of blue stairs, isn't far away. Foster still sits here on the roof trying to deliver that information. They still want to be taking this server side, but having got the jacuzzi wall open, the next job is bathroom, and they have been able to get it open now. Nath just 1 impact still in pocket, and he's going to be taking refuge behind the Vulcan shield.
Yeah, it's really good time management in terms of the jacuzzi side, how much they've managed to breach. But yeah, there are still roamers, and that's my main concern here. Homeless, they can get the core breaches down, but MnM have shown that if you give them an inch, they'll take that inch, and, well, they'll charge you double for it. And if that cache control is not fully cleared, if that Valkyrie is still allowed to roam below, she won't only have that C4 available to have an impact, but she could even rotate, potentially utilize that CCTV window, and counter out those positions of the players on the balcony. An aid comes through, but narrowly misses, or is caught rather, by the ADS, and so it doesn't destroy that Goya shield. This is very much the focus right now. Homeless are methodically opening up these breaches and trying to dispatch with this utility.
Now they're putting this attention here on Jim Window. This could actually cause Nafe to share his attention, but Fonkers will be the next to go down, caught out by Royal, who is also just outside of the master window. And now Nafe is finding himself pushed back by the fires of his own shield, but he can go in for the kneecaps of Mexis. Traded straight out though, and MnM Gaming are just getting their revenge. Reba goes in for one himself, drops down the hatch, while Homeless decided this is time for the defuse. Dats is pushing on up. We've seen this aggressive player play, and he wants to try and deny it. Narrowly misses the kill. There's hours, and he's got to go in for the pistol with basically no health. He had to come off of the diffuser at that point, and that basically hands MnM the round.
Oh, what a narrow margin that MnM steal that round from Homeless. I've got to say, as soon as Reba fell down that hatch, it looked intentional at the time, but I don't think it was. Maybe it was just an error of judgment in the heat of the moment after he'd taken out that player downstairs, but dropping down that hatch and forcing him to rotate back out the pool window, trying to rappel up, it meant that Hours was alone to try and plant. And it's not often that you see a 2 versus 2 round end thanks to the timer. We're still 4 players out of the 10 alive in the server, but it's what MnM will take. Also so unfortunate for Hours. If he had killed that Jaeger, he could potentially have just stuck the plant, and maybe Reba would have rotated back up in time to cover him. A bit of a what if, but nonetheless, it is MnM to make a full sweep on their first shot of 3 defenses. But Geo, 2 of these have been very, very close.
Yeah, and listen, we saw this earlier as well. Matchco did this back on Consulate, and then Gamma just completely swept from this point onwards. So I've learned from the what happened today, from the happenings of today. What do you say?
Sure, no, I'll play that.
I've learned from the events of today. That's the word I was looking for. I've learned from the events of today that it can happen. I said that phrase so many times, so I think people have got it in their head at this point that things could change. It has been close, and it was definitely disappointing for Hours at the end there that he couldn't confirm that kill, because as you say, him not being able to do that meant that he couldn't have another attempt at the plant because he didn't have the protection of Reba. Maybe things can turn around here. They are heading back down into the basement. We want to be watching out for Dats, who could potentially get aggressive. Fonka's just avoiding being seen through the window on main stairs as he moves back down.
2 drones already gone now. I think the strategy for MnM is to kind of fake out this aggression and then shoot some drones. Users actually backed off fully. This is a contrast to what we saw in the previous defense of this bomb site, where users actually played off and around those mute jammers in CCTV cache and managed to find a pick and delay about 2 minutes for it as well. So I like the idea. I get the idea from MnM. They don't want to be too predictable, so they're going to fall back. And the idea here is that those mute jammers are still upstairs, so Homeless kind of have to clear that out anyway, and they can't simply do that with their drones. They're going to have a player enter to at least shoot those jammers. I really think that Thatcher could be utilized well here, especially because Qaid's not prevalent. Like, we don't really need those EMPs anywhere else except potentially the church wall for getting rid of any mute jammers that you want to breach, that you want to get rid of, so to hard breach that wall. I think that's the point of contention. Here it's Hours who really needs to land the shot on the player who wants to impact trick. A C4 comes out, impact trick comes through, Hours misses his shots, Yonka gets away with his life, and still Homeless are struggling to breach this kitchen hatch.
Isn't it crazy? The Thatcher's back in and it's still a problem. That's the power of impact tricking, and it's definitely causing Homeless some grief because they couldn't get the hatches open last time, and even this time they have the sledge available. He didn't get taken down as early as before, and they still haven't been able to prevent that pressure from below. Foster having to remove the goo needle, but Fonkers is so ready for him, and he takes advantage of the situation, rushing back towards the site. But that does mean the Homeless are a man down.
Yeah, I think this is a really good play style from MnM. It's definitely catching Homeless off guard. This kind of aggression, I don't think the Poles were expecting it. And it's coming back to bite them. And now Homeless fighting from Well, one player down, 4 versus 5, and they don't really have the ideal breach situation. Kitchen Hatch has been a serious hindrance, and Royal so very late is going to rotate Oil Pit to try and pinch with Mexus. This is so desperate, and it's got to work for him.
Well, Mexus is gonna get taken straight out as he begins that endeavor. There's a direct trade, and Royal just has to push up, following in his wake. He sees one player, he manages to get him, but one sneaks up back onto him. And now Hours has to jump down once again, attempting for the plant, but this time Reaper's there to try and do something, but the deny. Fonker's got the direct shot. Reaper didn't even see where it was. He was facing the wrong direction. A disappointing round for Homeless.
Wow, I don't know why Dats hit the question mark just there, but all right, whatever you want, mate. That is 3 rounds in a row now that MnM have won, thanks to that ever-present clock, thanks to that 6th player on the defense, the timer. Homeless have really struggled. They're and I mean, a lot of teams would say, "Oh, they're just too slow." A lot of people would say, "It's just too slow." Whatever. No, it's more complicated than that. MnM have had really good strategies all the way, and it goes back to the prep phase, right? You talk about that basement defense we see from MnM, and everything from the mute jammers to the early aggression, but safe aggression from the main stairs, from the storage blue stairs, just shooting drones. Getting back to site, holding an aggressive angle. Fonkers finds a kill. Even if he didn't find that kill, even if he just went back to site, even if MnM were in a 5 versus 5 there, they would have had the advantage. Their playstyle and these plays from them, these strategies, are delaying time from Homeless, are forcing Homeless to hard clear these things and making them struggle with their drone economy, with their map control, with their breaches onto the bomb site. Kitchen Hatch has been a hindrance. And it's all that mid-round and early round, everything from day dot to the end of it, that MnM has done well. And those executes for Homeless have actually been moderately fruitful. That 4 versus 5 came into a 2 versus 2. That is very close. And if not for those little holes in the armory hallway, then I don't think Fonkers would have been able to deny that. And that would have potentially been a Homeless round. So I've got to credit them. But I also got to credit this showcase of excellence we're seeing from MnM.
It must be incredibly frustrating for Homeless to know that they are becoming so close yet so far every single time. It doesn't take them long to open up the server wall, given that there's no wall denial being brought this time. It was the black eye just above it, so they'll be able to have any information. A Banshee directly opposite as well, so huge dissuasion from being able to push in.
Yeah, what we talked about a lot after the previous time the Homeless barely failed to attack this was, are they going to keep going for that construction take, or they're maybe going to go for a garage take? And they're shaped up very much for this construction take, which is meta these days, I'll give them that. But with that Wamai ban, I really feel like, I don't know, probably the place where Wamai is the strongest on this entire map is probably in garage, and you've alleviated that. You could go for a garage take. I really think that would probably work out. Like, maybe the Malusi is going to make that a bit more difficult. Let's have a look at the setup. In garage, you've got that ADS in the corner. There's an Evil Eye. I still feel like this could be possible here for Homeless, but I mean, it's almost not worth talking about since they've clearly decided not to go for that. Now it's a question of, can they get this breach on, and can they flush out these players, especially Fonkers here in Cash, especially with that shield to support him.
He's only got 1 impact left, so there is more of a chance, I suspect, for Homeless to be able to get this right. We have placed the exothermic charge, if I'm not mistaken, and Royal's just holding on to the angle, but the impact trick attempt hasn't happened yet. They're just taking their time. Nexus is trying to hold the angle onto the rotation from Garage. I believe there's still the Valkyrie that's out there. And there's the attempt with the X-Kairos. Fonkers is looking a different way, though, and it looks like that's going to open up just fine.
Yep, I believe that's a crouchable breach plus a second angle, but the pivotal thing here is Fonkers, not only has he been a pivotal player for MnM, but he's playing such an aggressive gunfight-style anchor. Foster actually might find the first pick down here. See you later, Yuzus. That's great. But the nade needs to come through. Not only does it destroy the shield, but it takes down Fonkers. Suddenly, a 5 versus 3 for Homeless.
Oh, it's looking so much more clear, but look at this. 2 kills coming in for MnM, and Jonker's getting ready with the C4 to try and clean up. It works! There's Royal, who's been taken straight off the board, and Reba has a minuscule of health as he tries to shoot on through. He and Hours are going to have to push in, but there's another one from Nath, and suddenly the Thermite is left with barely anything. And despite the fact that it looked like it could go well for them, MnM still manage to clean up perfectly.
Wow, what a way to go from a 3 versus 5 for MnM to a 3 versus 0. That is, wow, a testament to those anchor positions and MnM playing really well around each other. I'm going to point out the first kill that MnM got that round, which I'm not quite sure which player it was. Perhaps Das, perhaps Yonka, who pushed down those red stairs to refrag out Foster, who'd killed the Melusi users in Lounge. Now, MnM getting aggressive, taking an unusual position, pushing down the red stairs in order to refrag, that just alleviated that pressure. Like previously, up until that point, after users, the Melusi died downstairs, constantly MnM were like, okay, we still have to worry about not only the execute through Con into Cash, but also there's this loose player downstairs that's just killed our teammate. He could late flank up red stairs. He could go garage. We have to worry about him. No, push for that fight. Deal with him. Just tick him off the list. You don't have to worry about him anymore. Turn your attention to that construction execute. And despite not having that shield, despite losing their main player on the bomb side to hold down, which was Fonkers, MnM pulled through.
Yeah, I think it was actually Nath who they had present on the red stairs, ready to
I listed everyone
support.
except for the right one.
Well, maybe I'm remembering incorrectly, so there is a margin
I
of
trust
error.
you.
Aw, that's cute.
Up to a point.
That's probably a good thing. Either way, if MnM take this next round, then this is going to be a very clean first half for them on a game that we thought would likely be significantly more competitive. And sure, you could argue that maybe Homeless are relaxing somewhat. It doesn't matter too much. They don't want to give anything away, but you thought maybe not.
Okay.
Aggressive from users. That's also the diffuser drop. That's going to have to be collected by Homeless, at least if they hope to play around the objective, which you'd hope that they do.
It's also a lot of hard breach gone. Keep in mind that Royal has already used 2 of his ex-Kairos, and that's only on the kennel's exterior wall. Like, you still got cash walls, you still got bathroom walls, you still got jacuzzi. Mexus can't even fire that. Cheeky little Jaeger doesn't even land a single bullet on Dats as he gets back into cash safely. MnM has so much map control. They got them at advantage. Royal, abused by the Evil Eye, finally takes it down, but not before losing 60 HP. We need to see some action now from Homeless.
I mean, look at this crossfire that's been set up as well by Jonker and Dats. They're just playing it patiently, but should anybody push into Cash, then this is going to be troublesome for them. You can hear the ex-Kairos. That's going to pressure the Jaeger, but those final 2 kills from Reba, that definitely makes life easier for Homeless. Now it's a 3 versus 3, and they have to continue to push in from the east side of the map. Jonga has gone back. Usus is moving downstairs. He's looking for those upwards angles that he can shoot in through the kitchen ceiling, up through to logistics.
That's a good one. That's a force vault there, so that hole has to be vaulted through. That means that it's a bit slower for a player moving through that compared to if they were just sprinting through, and that guarantees that users should be able to take him out. Nath takes down Royal, 3v2 now for the defense, and they're looking firmly in control here. So up to Foster and Nexus. A drone to come through. Foster actually still has not only a bit of time, but also a second drone he could use if needed. Oh, the shots exchanged. Nexus taking so much damage. I really feel like Homeless have to go for kills here, but it's so hard, especially when MnM keeps taking these aggressive anchor angles. That's all she wrote. Nath cleans off the final 3 kills of that 3 versus 3. And MnM make a flawless sweep of their defense. 6 rounds in a row on Clubhouse.
Not even the opportunity to withstand at the end. Nexus gunned down, and now this could be a very quick 7-0 if MnM can keep this up on their attack.
Well, MnM, they're ready to go home for tea and biscuits. They just got to clean up one more round. It's,
Is that what they eat?
That's what I eat. I don't know. If they're cool kids
I
like
thought
me, then yeah.
I thought you were just stereotyping by nationality.
I don't have a problem with doing that.
Okay. Can we just get that on the record in case we need an excuse to fire Dev?
Has no problem stereotyping the Brits for eating biscuits and drinking tea. Tick. Guilty as charged. I'm also a bit of a tea and biscuits fiend myself, so I'm certainly going to be going for some tea and biscuits after this game. MnM can win or lose for all I care. That's not going to stop me. But, well...
You live such a wild life.
That I do. So, we take a look here at the standings once again. To reiterate the stakes of this game, yes, both of these teams are qualified for the single elimination Challenger League playoffs. But, oh my goodness, single elimination playoffs, that means every match matters like the world. And that means seeding is super important. If you're the second best team in a single elim bracket, and your first match is against the best team, you will come last. You will not come second place, as you would perhaps deserve to do so. And remember that the top two from Challenger League will have their chance in EUL. The number one goes straight in. The number two gets to fight
for Rogue
for their chance against Rogue. Yep, guess that. Well, I was trying to remember which team, and then I was like, oh, of course.
How could you forget? Wow.
So just to reel it all in for a second here, right? If MnM is the second best team, and Gamma is the best team, let's just theory, right? Okay. And MnM plays Gamma, or let's what's more likely? Homeless plays Gamma here. If Homeless loses this game, they will play Gamma in the first quarterfinal of the Challenge League playoffs. They lose that, even if they were the second best team in the whole thing. Their run to EUL ends right there. That's why MnM are going full hard right here. That's why they're trying their best, their darndest to secure this seeding, because it just means so much.
You need the preferable seed, especially when it's single elim. And that's exactly what MnM are looking to do. Homeless are as well, but they have not necessarily done a great job of it so far. And already about half the round has elapsed while we've been discussing seeding and placement and all those things. MnM are taking their time. Reaper's getting ready with the C4, but that's the bar hatch that's going to be open first. They'll have an opportunity to drone down as well. And it looks like they're getting ready on the kitchen hatch as well, as Nave, who's on Hibana, is present in there.
Yeah, and this was what really stalled out Homeless. Now, is that impact trick successful? Ours, he wants to do it. He wants to do it. He loses his life. Nate is too good. He's just too good. And MnM, they do what Homeless could not. They breach that kitchen hatch, and without breaking a sweat, that's a nice black eye on the other side. It's actually in the roof of Arsenal, but oh my goodness, MnM 5v4, numbers advantage, positional advantage, they got the breach open. Surely they can convert this. Homeless don't even have info. That was a blind C4. This should be the 7-0.
Sometimes it really do be that way, and hopeless, oh no, Homeless can try and scrap back. That genuinely was...
You just call them hopeless? You just called them hopeless! Alright, that's it right here. MnM, you've got to do it right now. You've got to do it right now. End their misery. This is it.
Oh, please end mine as well. This could be very aggressive, and it is. Usus gets the kill onto Reba, and Mexus has got to try and resurrect his teammate. But even so, it looks like MnM could just take this. They jump down into sight. They're going straight in for the defuse. They might not even need it if Mexus can be taken down before it's finished. He gets one kill for himself, but he's still got 3 players to go up against, but it's a hard task. MnM get a 7-0 on their seeding match. And Homeless really did look a bit hopeless there. Nonetheless, they both go forward into the playoffs. Maybe they would have just liked a slightly better scoreline under which to do it.
Quick game's a good game. That's what they like to say. MnM stepped up hugely there and have showed they are a team to be feared. If I'm Heretics right now, just chilling out, watching this game, I'd be scared. MnM, a dominating 7-0. The most convincing win of their Challenger League run is right here. against Homeless. What a game that was, Gio. I'm not going to lie, that was not what I was expecting.
Look, we've seen a miracle run from one MnM squad in the past. They became Na'Vi and took a Pro League championship. This could be the start of the story for the next dynasty of this team. We'll have to find out in the playoffs, but as for this game, let's find out what our analysts have to say.
Thank you so much, my friends. And you know what, Des, I'm going to